Hello. Hello to all of you. It's so good to be back again. It's Mrs. Foose here. And later on, Little Mouse will pop out and see you too. Last week, we talked about seasons. Seasons are times of the year. And remember, we talked about spring, summer, fall, and winter. And do you remember which season we have right now? Winter. Remember, we said it's cold, it's cold in the winter, and we expect snow. But of course, we don't know when it's going to snow. We'll just have to wait and see. But it is winter. And we're going to talk about a special kind of a tree that we think about a lot in the winter. But before we do that, I want to show you a few pictures from a book because we're going to talk about the leaves that are on this particular kind of tree. And I want to show you a few different leaf shapes. It says, can you guess which of these pictures show leaves? So take a look there. The three choices are fern, pine, and grass. So which of those pictures show leaves? You know what the answer is? All of them. They are all leaves, and leaves come in many shapes and sizes. Now this is probably the kind of tree you think about most often. That's an oak tree. It's a big oak tree. An oak tree can actually have more than 1 million leaves. Can you believe that? That's a lot of leaves. A leaf is a part of a plant. Trees are plants, and different kind of trees have different kinds of leaves. And I'm just going to quickly show you a picture of all the different kinds of leaves there are. Look at, they're all different sizes, different shapes. Some kind of leaves, remember, in the fall they turn colors and then they fall off the tree. Well, we're going to talk about this kind today. Do you see? Those are called pine leaves, or sometimes I say needle leaves because they look like little needles. Oh, little mouse. He's excited. He has something to show you, so I guess I should have him come. He's saying hi, but he's got something in his hands. Here, little mouse, can you kind of show that a little bit? Can you tell what little mouse is holding here? I bet you've heard of this before. It's a pine cone. And that's also something that you would find in a tree besides leaves. So little mouse, if you could set that down for a minute, maybe you could help me get the kind of tree we're going to be talking about today. It's kind of big and heavy, little mouse, but you're pretty strong. Oh, he's got it. He's got it. Oh my goodness, this tree is way bigger than you, little mouse. Boys and girls, this is called a pine tree. And I'm going to put it up real close so you can see those aren't the big flat leaves that turned different colors and fell off the trees. These little leaves can be kind of pokey sometimes. Here, I'm going to set you down, little mouse. They're just like little needles. And they grow all over the tree. And remember what little mouse had in his hand? Actually, pine cones can be found in pine trees too. And pine trees are actually very important to a tree because in the beginning, when they're closed up really tight, do you know what they have hiding inside of them? Seeds. And when the pine trees, well, here, let's get another pine cone. This one is bigger. Do you see how it's kind of opened up there? There were needles or there were seeds inside the pine cones. And then when the pine cone kind of opens up, all the seeds go out and they can grow new pine trees just like this. So here, I'll put that one in our tree too. So now you know a couple things about pine trees. They have leaves that look like needles, and they have pine cones in them. So the last thing I kind of want you to know about them for right now is a lot of times we call trees like this with needle leaves and pine cones, we call them evergreens. And the reason we say that is because they're pretty much always green. Remember again the trees that the leaves turned colors and then the leaves fell on the ground? Well, even if some of these needles turn brown and fall off the pine tree, they don't all turn brown at the same time. There's always a lot of green needle leaves on a pine tree. And so we say that they're evergreen. They're green all the time. So you do know a few things about pine trees now. So I would like to read a story to you. And in this story, there's going to be 3 pine trees. And I think you'll like the tree or the story. What you'll find out is that there's a lot of things we can do with pine trees. And the book will kind of tell you, and then when the story's over, we'll talk about what are some things that people do with pine trees. So I'll just leave our pine tree up here so you can kind of see it while I'm reading. And the book I'm going to read you today is called, oops, it's over here. It's called Mighty Tree. And by mighty, it means it's strong and big. And every book has an author. This book, the person who wrote it is named Dick Gackenbach. So, and this is one of my favorite stories. And if you look, there is a pine tree on the cover, a great big one. So let's see a little bit more about pine trees and hear about these mighty trees. Oh, take a look at that. The children really love this tree, I think. They're giving it a hug. All right, here we go. Okay, I want you to look over here. Remember I said there's things hiding inside the pine cones? I want you to look at those 3 things right there. Some time ago, the wind blew 3 tiny seeds to the earth. You see them? Here's the 3rd one. And from these seeds, 3 small trees began to grow. So let's see if we can find the small ones that are growing. See, look, there's the pine cone is right there, and that it must have opened up and the seed was planted in the ground, and look, it's starting to grow. And then next to this little pine cone is another pine tree starting to grow. And let's see, where is the 3rd one? Oh, right up here. There's the little pine tree, or the pine cone, and there's the pine tree. Well, the sun gave the trees warmth. The rain gave the trees water, and the earth gave them food. Do you see the food comes right out of the earth and goes up through the roots of the tree? And the strong winds gave them shape and made them strong. They had to be very strong when the wind was blowing. Well, the trees grew and grew and grew. Do you see all 3 of them now? Until their crowns nearly touched the clouds. And the crown is just the very top of the tree. Well, one summer day, a big red truck came to the quiet forest and took one tree away. So there were 3 trees, and now 1 is gone. So there's just 2 left. The truck carried the tree to a mill where it was changed into many things. Here are some things you can make out of trees. The tree became paper to draw on and paper to wrap presents in. It became candy wrappers and paper hats. The tree became cardboard boxes and shopping bags. And even this book is made from that tree. Uh-oh. In the winter, a big blue truck came, and it took the second tree away. So there were 3 trees, and now 2 are gone. So there's only 1 left. The blue truck carried the beautiful tree to a great big city. There, the tree was covered with stars and horns and angels and shiny balls. It was covered with lights that sparkled and glittered and brightened the snowy nights. So look, that tree is now decorated. The beautiful tree filled the hearts of millions of people, and with kindness and cheer, and it brought smiles to the faces of children. So look how many people love that tree, that beautiful decorated tree. But now, the 3rd tree still stands in the woods today. It did not get cut down. And it is the most important tree of all. This tree is home and shelter to hornets and honeybees, ladybugs, spiders, crickets, ants, katydids, and caterpillars, pheasants and quail, and mourning doves, woodpeckers and flickers, squirrels and chipmunks, and even sleeping bears. So this tree is actually a home. It is also home to lizards and possums and raccoons and runaway kites and butterfly cocoons and blue jays and robins, cardinals and crows, chickadees, crossbills, nuthatches and bluebirds and owls and hawks and eagles too. All find shelter in the branches. Can you see all those animals are in the branches? This mighty tree, see, it's nighttime. This mighty tree stands there still, sending out its tiny seeds to blow into the wind. And remember, those tiny seeds will grow what? New pine trees. And that is the end of my story. So there were 3 pine trees in this story. 1 became what? Remember? Many things. Anything you could make out of paper or wood, bags, books, even furniture. So what, the first tree became many things. The second tree was decorated in such a beautiful way and made so many people happy. But the 3rd tree did not get cut down, and it became a home for animals. And that tree was the most important one of all. Well, so now that you've learned a little bit about pine trees, I'm going to try and teach you a little song about them. And it goes like this. I'm a little pine tree. So you're going to pretend to be a pine tree. I'm a little pine tree. Look at me. Now, if you squish your hands up, it'll be like pine cones. Pine cones and needles. Needles are just sharp and pointy. needles are what cover me. All the year long, my green color is seen. That's why they call me an evergreen. Remember, pine trees look green all year long. So let's see if we can do that together. I'm a little pine tree, look at me. Pine cones and needles, all our fingers can be needles, are what cover me. All the year long, my color green is seen. That's why they call me an evergreen. So, okay, little mouse. Little mouse has been asking, he would like to do a little song with you before we go. And we're going to use our fingers, which we were just pretending were pine needles, and we're going to start out the song by wiggling them. So let me get the song going, and we're going to wiggle our little pine needle fingers for the start of the song. And let's see, little mouse kind of wants to play too, so we'll see.
Here's a little dance to do with your hands. Listen to the words and you'll understand. And when I say put them out of sight, just put your hands behind your back.
Little mouse kid too.
Wiggle them, wiggle them, wiggle them so. Wiggle them high, wiggle them low.
Wiggle to the left,
wiggle to the right. Wiggle them out of sight. Snap them, snap them, snap them so.
Snap them high, snap them low. Snap to the left, snap to the right. Snap them out of sight.
Open and shut them just like so. Open them high, open them low. Open to the left, open to the right. Open and shut them out of sight. Shake them, shake them, shake them so. Shake them high, shake them low. Shake to the left, shake to the right. Shake them out of sight. Wave them, wave them, wave them so. Wave them high, wave them low. Wave to the left, wave to the right. Wave them out of sight.
I hope you enjoyed that song. It's one of Little Mouse's favorites. So before we go today, let's see if we can remember the things we've learned about pine trees. We can take a look up here. Here, I can bring it back down. We learned that pine trees are called evergreens because they stay the color green all year long. We learned that the leaves on a pine tree are needle shaped and they might even be a little pokey. We learned that the pine cones in a pine tree have seeds, and when they open up, the seeds go out and they can grow things like the 3 mighty trees that we read about in our story. So we'll talk a lot more about pine trees tomorrow, but for now, Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Oh, I have to stop. Do you know what? I used my hello. I need to switch it to goodbye. Are you ready? Did you catch me? Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. See you tomorrow.